Season 20 of EPL just ended. Here are 10 things we learned. Number 1, NAVI are the best team in the world with Vitality at number 2. Now, I know there's a little bit of a circle jerk up at the top. Vitality just beat NAVI in the finals, EF just beat Vitality, and now NAVI just beat EF. So I can see arguments for NAVI and Vitality being the number 1 team, but let's just be honest. It goes NAVI, then Vitality. While everything 3 and beyond can be argued, NAVI have made the finals of the last 4 events they've attended, winning 2 of them. The individuals on this team look insane right now. Strategically, they look like the best and deepest team in the world. They have the best coach in the world. They are the team to beat in CS2 right now, and they might be the first team with an era. We'll have to wait and see. Number 2, the race for the number 1 player in the world is absolutely a 3-man race. I know there's a lot of talk for donk and Odyssey as the top 2. Zyw0o is absolutely still in this race. He just dropped a 1.4 rating at this event. He was looking dominant with the op. He's been smurfing on pistol rounds. And he was the only player out of these 3 to not fall off in the game they were eliminated in. He also had a 1.4 against Eternal Fire when they played, and was the only reason that series was even close, to be honest. Now, this isn't a shot on donk or Odyssey. They both also looked great this event. I mean, donk literally broke the kill record, but only had a 0.95 rating against NAVI when they lost, although he was the highest rated player at this event, being right above Zyw0o. Odyssey was the 4th highest rated player with a 1.33. He didn't post a negative rating a single map this entire event. He looked phenomenal against Liquid in the quarterfinals. I mean, he went 19-9 on Inferno and 23-8 on Nuke, but did fall from his 1.33 rating down to a 1.08 against NAVI. He was still the highest rated player on G2. Still a great tournament from him and donk. All this is just to say, don't count out Zyw0o. All 3 of these players are playing incredibly right now, and I really do think that it's going to come down to the Shanghai Major. Whoever performs the best and whichever one of these teams performs the best will probably catapult whichever one of these players to the top spot. Number 3. Eternal Fire is a good-ass team, man. This run was absolutely not a fluke. And I know there's some drama with the crowd right now. Who gives a fuck, man? Both teams are playing in the same arena. But this is the 2nd finals EF have made in a row, and they are looking good. When Woxic is on, this is objectively a top 5 team in the world. When Woxic, Zonteras, and Wakadia are all on, maybe a top 3 team in the world. And to be honest with you, I would take Major over Snacks and Chopper. They look like a strategically really strong team, just slightly below NAVI in that aspect. And the kills that Major gets are so impactful, man. Plus, it's great to see a full Turkish team like this playing so well. Any team with 5 dudes from the same country, I'll be rooting for. Anyways, this team is good, man. They beat Vitality in 3 maps. They pushed NAVI to their brink, and they gave us our first BO5 with all 5 maps in CS2. So thank you for giving us entertaining finals. But look out for this team at the Shanghai Major. They can make a serious run. Number 4. This tournament was the last straw for a lot of underperforming teams. We have ENT, NIP, Astralis, and Fnatic that all made roster moves after this event. We'll have to see how much they all improve. For starters, ENT's kicked Glaive and Goofy. Thank God that team was atrocious. I'm really not sure what's next for Glaive. I don't know if he joins another team, he becomes a coach, if he just straight up retires. We'll have to wait and see. NIP got rid of Alex, and they have missed him replacing him. There are so many issues with this NIP team. I'm not sure if this will really help them at all. Maxter is very on and off. Isaac is pretty meh. Wrinkle is incredibly wishy-washy. I've seen him hit incredible shots and then miss the easiest ones possible. The only rock on this team is Rez, and it's been that way for however many years now. Just give up, boys. Next is Astralis with the Cadian move. Honestly, insane move that blew my mind when the news first broke. I don't know how much they'll improve from this, but they should at least a little bit. Device was not it as an IGL. And even with the weird history between Cadian and Stabby, I think it'll be fine. I don't think they're going to become a top 5 team and start winning tournaments though. Plus, Cadian has been atrocious on the op in CS2, but he's been even worse on the rifle, which is going to be his full-time role now. I could honestly see Hooksy level fragging from him. Of course, you never know how these moves are going to work out until a couple months down the line. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of praying on their downfall. Astralis is a shitty organization, and the way they handled Bro was just sad to see. Not even a goodbye tweet until a day later when there was backlash. Plus the Cadian sub-in due to medical emergency bullshit. There's no other team that I want to do worse than Astralis. Lastly, we have Fnatic. They actually have Nock replacing Afro, which I think is an upgrade, but Afro was far from the problem on this team. I doubt this changes much. Crims and Body need to find retirement homes and fast. Just blow up the whole team. Number 5. G2 and Spirit both rely way too much on individual brilliance. These two teams are very similar for me, but I think Spirit do have a higher ceiling from what we've seen. Both of these teams can pop off and just win a tournament out of nowhere, but I don't think they will ever be consistent just because they're not strategically that deep. I mean, Snax' calling is just atrocious. It sucks to see them take such a big step forward with the Mouz replacement for Nexa and 2 steps back with the Snax replacement for Hooxie. Brother can't frag or call. I don't even know what Taz does as the coach. But m0NESY, Nico, Mouz, and Hunter are all so good. They can pop off and just win matches by themselves. Very similar to Spirit. Chopper seems very limited as a caller. They rely way too much on Donk dropping 1.5 ratings. He literally needed to break the kill record for Spirit to beat Wildcard, and they barely beat them. Plus, while still good, it seems that Zontix has taken a step back from his form earlier this year, but Zyw0o is still great, and this team can absolutely pop off and win any tournament if Zyw0o and Zontix are supporting Donk. So very similar to G2 in my eyes. Either one of these teams could absolutely pop off and win the Shanghai Major. It would not surprise me. It just doesn't seem that they will ever be consistent. Plus, the G2 roster might just get blown up after the Major anyways. We really don't know if Nico is taking anyone with him, but the first time this happened, they dropped JKS because they completely wanted to rebuild around m0NESY. I could see them just doing that again and rebuilding around Mouz and m0NESY if he stays, Hunter if he stays, but I don't think Snack stays after the Major. Anyways, yeah, both of these teams are really good. They can beat anyone in the world. They just will not be able to be consistent with their current teams. Number 6. 4 out of the 5 players on NAVI are top 20 players this year. This team is very similar to Prime Astralis in that their system brings out the best in their players. In 2019, we had Device and Magisk both in the top 5, with Xyp9x and Dupree at 14 and 16. The firepower on this NAVI team is insane, and I think we could see 4 of them even in the top 15. Actually, taking it a step further, I think you could argue Bit, Ema, and JL all in the top 10, with Wonderful from 10 to 15. Depending on how they perform at the Shanghai Major, that'll probably determine their order. Number 7. Let's talk about some of the underperforming teams that didn't make roster changes. What is going on with Faze, man? Frozen was the 3rd highest rated player at this event with a 1.38, and Rops was even top 8 with a 1.26, which didn't even end up mattering. They got knocked out of the first round of the playoffs by Complexity. Something to keep an eye on is what Kerrigan does after the Shanghai Major. I'm not sure if he retires. I don't know if he's just running out of juice, but this team does not look inspired right now. I was gonna call out Brokey, but he's not even doing that bad. He was the 2nd lowest rated player on Faze with a 1.09, but he's had a 1.17 over the past month. His fall off seems a bit exaggerated. Rain had a pretty good event with a 1.13. I really don't know what they do, but I doubt we see any roster changes unless they bomb out of the Shanghai Major. Next up is Mouz. They're in the same boat as Faze for me. Mouz will be fine. I don't want to talk about them for too long. I'm nearly positive they'll bounce back, but if they don't, I could see them replacing Brolin, but we'll have to see. Once again, they should be fine. Next up is Flyquest, and oh boy, I really don't know what to say, man. I don't think it's possible for Australia to have an elite team. The talent pool they have is just not on par with Europe, and to be honest with you, I'm a little worried for them at the Asian RMR. They got the Dark Horse Drillas in there, man. I know they might want to stay fully Australian, which I can respect, but at the end of the day, Alistair is not good enough. They need to import an Opper from literally anywhere. Get a face at level 8 from EU for all I care. Just get someone. And the last team is Heroic. I don't really know if they fit this category because they looked better at this tournament. They won a playoff game, and I'm not really sure what their expectations are. I just wanted to talk about them and say that if they bomb out of Shanghai, I could totally see Kixin being gone. They've looked really shaky overall, but I don't want to hate on them too badly. They have had a lot of visa issues with Dexter, who, listen, I'm just going to come out and say it. He's been looking really mediocre. He's been missing a lot of op shots that most oppers should hit, but it's just kind of medium concern right now. If they continue to steadily improve into IEM Rio and after that the Thunderpick World Championship, then I'm not too concerned. Number 8. No, this is not a joke. keep your eyes out for Lynn Vision, man. I know they just came in literally last place, but hear me out. They played NAVI, took them to overtime on Dust 2, which NAVI are a very good Dust 2 team. Took Heroic to 3 maps and took Flyquest to 3 maps where they barely lost in overtime. And Zyw0o had an elite tournament. He was the 5th highest rated player at the event with a 1.33 rating. The eye test was incredible. And against NAVI, he was the only player with a positive rating on his team. He had a better rating than Donk against NAVI. Plus, they just added a very young player in a Fufu. He's 19 and this was his first ever LAN. Well, international LAN. We'll have to wait and see if Zyw0o is consistently this good or if it was just a life tournament. But any team with a truly elite AWPer can do damage. I mean, 4 out of their 5 players were under a 1 rating. They were all atrocious. If Amelia can slightly improve, a Fufu after his first international LAN, Westmelon, I mean, they can be a dangerous team. But once again, this is all just based off of if Zyw0o is actually this good. If he was just on Adderall this event and comes back down to earth at the RMR, GG. If he is that good, I see them easily making it through the Asian RMR and making a dent in the first stage. Number 9.
NACS is back.
Well, probably back. This is the first time a team other than Liquid or Complexity has made the playoffs of a tier 1 event since I think like 1945. And although Complexity did get stomped against Liquid and Liquid got stomped against G2 and M80 kind of got stomped against MIBR, North America might at least finally have hope again. M80 looked very promising, and it's great to see an org actually take chances on young North American talent again. Liquid looked very good, probably the best out of all 3 of these teams. They're just not completely there yet, at least not there enough to win tournaments, but they should be making deep runs at pretty much every event they attend. And I know you might be saying they're not a North American team. Listen, man, they're North American enough, okay? They compete in the North American RMR. JKS is Australian, which is basically America. They're a North American team. And lastly is Complexity. Complexity's good. I just kind of see them as a stagnant team. They're not going to get much better. They're not going to get much worse. They won't be winning any tier 1 tournaments, but they could absolutely sneak in the playoffs. They're just an overall solid, good North American team. We'll have to see if Wildcard with Stanislaw and JBA can take a step. JBA didn't look great at this tournament, but their team overall looked pretty decent, and they were kind of exciting. Fuzi was incredible. But yeah, maybe, just maybe, there's some hope in North America. And finally, number 10, let's talk about South America. MIBR looked very good at this event. They made a really deep run in the tournament. Safe looks like a very, very good AWPer. Exit's calls were good throughout. Insani is incredible. And it sounds like they're even trying to replace BRN is in. It's something like that. With Luca Ozzy, who is on Fluxo, he is a very good player. So on paper, they should be getting even better. We'll have to see if they can keep up this performance. But if they do, I really think it's between them and Pain for the best team in Brazil. Well, in all of South America at that. Red Candids look pretty good too. I don't even really know what the expectation for Furia is anymore. Like, they're all right, but they're not even the best team in South America anymore. They're kind of like the South American version of Complexity in a way. Like, they're alright. They'll beat good teams every once in a while. They'll sneak into the playoffs of some events. They won't be winning tier 1 tournaments though, which might be fine for the organization. I doubt it, but I really don't know, what their plan is. And lastly, this hurts me to say, it looks like that 9Z Dallas run was a fluke. They have just done nothing since then, which is honestly sad, man. They seem like a fun team. That was 10 things that we learned from EPL Season 20. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And the Blast Fall Final literally starts 2 days from now. We'll have to see if anything from this list changes. Subscribe to become hot and sexy today, and like the video for more Astralis hate. Thank you guys for watching.